All right, North Carolina. Um, look, I know where I'm going with this. 8.5, 8.5 wins. What are you thinking?
I lean the under. I don't know if I can take it just because of how talented that team is. It is so frustrating to go up and down that roster and just to see disappointment after disappointment, especially on the defensive line and in the defense. I mean, first of all, their secondary was terrible and it got totally reshaped last year. I mean, they failed Tony Grimes, Storm Duck, and Cameron Kelly. We've already talked about. Tony Grimes is a former 5-star guy, is over at A&M now. All these, I mean, Des Evans is a stud. Miles Murphy, Kevin Hester, obviously Travis Shaw. They lost another 5-star freshman, transferred away. I mean, it's been a shame to what Gene Chizik and Mac Brown have done to the actual concept of defense. It's embarrassing. But they do have Drake May. They do have Drake May and they
That's
have
it.
talent.
That is
So
it.
it, so I mean, no Phil Longo, but I like Chip Lindsley. Troy teams, they're kind of nice. They never really had a ton of success under him. But they had a nice year with Caleb Barker, where he had 3,500 yards, 3-1 touchdown interception ratio. The thing is, they're just soft on the offense and defensive line. So that's why I don't see them winning 9 games or more than that. So I don't know. And Josh Downs is obviously a huge loss. Anton Green is pretty good too, but Downs was the guy. Third down, you needed even with all those studs. Um, they had other NFL wide receivers. Josh Downs was the guy they had, and it was third and downs.
Yeah, it was. This is a play for me. This is an under. Defensively,
Wow.
Gene Chizik. Are you serious? Like you mentioned. Let's talk about some of these grades. Now I'm going to use PFF grades because I don't have like other stats to actually show you like the progression of the talent in that room. Okay, Storm Duck had a 78.7 PFF grade as a true freshman. Last year he had a 68. Okay, Tony
Yeah.
Grimes got a 63 the year before. 637. He stayed at a 63 too, and that's just too much talent to not
He kind of
improve.
gave up though on them on that staff and the team. He was like, I'm kind of done at the end of the year.
Yep, Biggers, their safety, went from a solid 72 the year before to a 61. So, like, how did all of these players in the secondary get worse? How did they get worse? Well, I'll tell you what's the common denominator. Oh yeah, it's Gene Chizik. He's the only guy that's the common denominator. Um, so
They have listen to this. They have Gene Chizik, whose title is assistant head coach for the defense. What? And they have
yep.
two other co-defensive coordinators. They have 3 guys that are all putting their hand into this defense, and none of it's fucking working.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Too many cooks and too many bad cooks. I'm sorry. There's a rumor out there that Gene Chizik is the guy once Mac Brown retires, they're gonna hire Gene Chizik.
Oh
That's fucking
my,
hilarious.
that is
There's
a joke.
there's no way. There's no way that someone that could ever happen. But yeah, I'll let you keep going. I wanted to mention that about
Look,
Gene
their
Chizik.
run defense, it was not great last year. It was not great. Bottom tier. That's not even including their pass defense. It was bottom tier, and they returned everyone on the front seven. So is that a good thing? Or is that a bad thing? Because look, linebacker, I like Cedric Gray a lot. I think he's really talented. Power
Yeah.
Eccles is fine.
Yep.
But that defensive line, like you said, there were some guys that some younger guys that transferred out of there that maybe weren't starting or whatever. But I just don't. Are these guys developing? Can they? Is Amari Gainer the transfer? Is he their savior? That's one guy. I mean, come on, what are we doing? So I don't know. I mean, I'm high on Kamen Rucker. I think he can actually be pretty decent.
Yeah. He'll play that jack linebacker position for him or
Yeah,
the edge.
yeah. So I just that it's really a defensive thing, and I do think Josh Downs was a big time loss. Plus Phil Longo, I think like those two things, I think are a big deal. Now their offensive line last year graded at a top 60 level, and they returned 4 of them. So I like that. If you're a middle of the tier offensive line and you return almost everyone, I like your chances of getting better. But I don't think
But
it's that.
but
I don't think it's that deep.
They're, so the O line. I talking about the O line.
Yeah,
I think so. Yes, they got some guys returning, obviously, but William Barnes, who's played guard for them in the past, they kicked out to left tackle. That's a liability right there. He is not a good left tackle in pass protection. And if you have your entire team is Drake May, right, especially on offense with all those guys gone. Obviously, I love Devontae Walker. I think he's going to be a monster fantasy wise.
Nate
Nate
McCollum.
McCollum from Georgia Tech we talked about earlier. Kobe Passauer, I think that's how you say his name. He had a really, really good spring game. Great route runner, can play inside or outside. If he's your number 3, that's fine. Like they're doing fine. Their running backs is fine. Elijah Green's back. Whatever. British Brooks, dynamic runner. Caleb Hood too, if he's healthy.
The running game was not good last year.
But part of that is that Phil Longo is that your strengths when you have Josh Johnson, Tom Green, maybe, but their O line, again, more talented guys that are failing to perform. Zach Rice, it's a 5-star. Yes, he's still young, but he couldn't play tackle. They had to kick him in the guard because he couldn't figure out tackle. We'll see if he can correct lineup eventually. Tavon Green, another guy that's 6'7", 340. He is the most talented linebacker, offense lineman they have, and he's not healthy, he's not consistent. Diego Pounds has elite athlete at tackle. Again, he's still raw. These guys that are these freak athletes on the offensive and defensive line, something is wrong with that group, with these groups. I don't understand. I just don't get it. Corey Gaynor is their center. He's great. He's fine. He's old, but whatever. They're just average, and they shouldn't be average with the talent in that room, with the talent that they're able to acquire. That's the frustrating thing.
Yeah, you
have to keep Drake May healthy. I'm sorry, I interrupted you there. You have to keep Drake May healthy.
But just such a red flag for me is like, how do you see your almost entire defense transfer out of there and still think, oh yeah, like our defense is fine? Like clearly, like these kids had a problem with the coaching staff. They were getting an opportunity to play, but they didn't feel like that their talents were being used to the best of their ability. And some of that, like, yeah, sure, coaches know best, but like, are you kidding me? What was it, like 8 transfers defensively or 7, 6 or 7? Like it was a large number of transfers on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe not most impactful players, but the entire secondary. I mean, come on. What are we doing there? So I'm on the under. I think Minnesota's a game I circle as a loss. I think South Carolina's a game I circle as a loss. I think Miami at home I think that's an interesting game right there. I think at Georgia Tech is an interesting game. I think Duke is an interesting game. Like I just see so many toss-up games here. I just see the variance.
They have to go to Pitt in week 4. They could be 1-3. They could be 1-3 heading into the bye week.
Yes.
That's not out of the possibility. Yes, they'll play Syracuse. They'll beat up on Syracuse, whatever. Beat up Virginia 2 weeks later. Probably, Georgia. I don't know. Week 10, they got to win. They're playing, what was that, FCS team? I mean, I don't think they win 8.5. I think they win 8 games, 7 games, which is crazy because the team is way more talented than that.
Yep. So, anything else?
I do want to shout out their cornerbacks. I know we talked about a lot of the guys they lost, but a guy you need to know from East Tennessee State is Elijah Huzzy. He is a monster. He is an NFL player. Great build, quick feet. He can play man, he can play zone, inside and outside corner. He is incredible. They like Amari Chapman, who they brought in from Virginia Tech, had 1,800 snaps in the ACC. He can play boundary maybe. Not quite locked down for him, but he's reliable, to leave and on his own. Doesn't miss a ton of tackles. Not a crazy athlete, not crazy speed, but he's very good. And it sounds like he's, can at least, you can't really ruin him. You ruin Grimes, you ruin Storm Duck. I don't know if you can ruin him quite as much. Marcus Allen, as a true freshman, 6'1", long arms, nice development, good clay, but we'll see if they can actually develop that into something good. He'll probably start on the outside though, which is interesting. Lejean Cavazos, I think is his name. They're high on him. 6'1", 190 with 4.4 speed, but he has to get better as a tackler and he has to get better technically. If he has to play 500 snaps for them, you are in trouble. But in 2024, they'll be good. And then DeAndre Boykins will play, the star position they call big nickel. He's a little bit undersized. Listen to how many snaps he played 931 snaps last year. That's a lot. And he's not nowhere elite, but he's got obviously a ton of experience in there. The safety room I don't think it's very good. But
Yep. I'm
and Tavius Lane from Georgia State is fun. He's 5'9", 190, and 3-time All Sun Belt player. That's awesome. 5'9", 190 is gonna be a guy that can lay the boom across the middle.
bowling ball.
Yeah.